Buy number 110, nearly $2 billion, 96% pure stretch, and Strategy now holds over 4% of every Bitcoin that will ever exist. And the supply vacuum just crossed 100,000 Bitcoin. Grab your coffee and strap in. Here's the buy. Strategy acquired 24,869 Bitcoin between May 11th and May 17th at an average price of just under 81,000 per coin. Just over $2 billion deployed. Their total holdings now stand at 843,738 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. The funding breakdown, $1.95 billion from Stretch and $83.7 million from the MSTR common stock. 96% pure Stretch. The engine came roaring back exactly as expected as we cruised into the ex-dividend date. Bitcoin is trading around 77,000 this morning. MSTR was down about 5% in pre-market at the time of recording, but it's up over 25% on the month. One down morning doesn't tell the story. The month does. Let's put 843,738 Bitcoin in perspective. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Ever. In the history of the world, and Strategy now holds over 4% of that total supply, permanently. They're not trading it, not lending it, not rehypothecating it. They're holding it forever. One company, 4% of the hardest asset ever created. Now, this week's buy alone was bigger than every Bitcoin Treasury company on Earth, except for Jack Mallers' 21, which is still building in stealth mode, Mara, the mining giant, Metaplanet, who's crushing it in the Japanese market, and BSTR, led by Bitcoin legend Adam Back, still waiting on its official de-SPAC. Everyone else in the rearview mirror in a single week. And the buy isn't the only big news this week. Strategy repurchased $1.5 billion of its 0% convertible notes due in 2029 at approximately $1.38 billion. They bought it below par, which saved roughly $120 million. The notes were canceled, so what does this mean? It's less future share dilution, a cleaner balance sheet for Strategy, and fewer obligations hanging over the equity. About $1.5 billion of 2029 notes still remain, but this is a meaningful step toward a simpler, stronger capital structure. And them doing it so far in advance signals to the market they are for real about being done with their debt. Now let's talk about the balance sheet in full. MNAV is sitting at 1.28 in terms of enterprise value this morning. For context, that's the level at which Strategy would consider selling Bitcoin to buy back shares. At 1.28, they're not there yet. The policy is a tool for compressed MNAV, and right now the market is still pricing in a meaningful premium to Bitcoin NAV. Annual dividend obligations across all preferred instruments now total $1.7 billion. That's real money, but here's the fortress stat. Strategy has 38 years of Bitcoin-backed dividend coverage and 15 and a half months of USD cash coverage for the dividends. The machine is funded for decades, and the amplification ratio sits at 36%. Not traditional leverage, since the preferreds aren't exactly debt, but a useful proxy for how much the capital structure is working for common shareholders. Strategy isn't just accumulating Bitcoin, it's fortifying the fortress. Now, let's talk about what's coming in the digital credit space, because it's moving fast. Strategy's semi-monthly STRC dividend vote is June 8th. It's the same annual yield, but double the frequency. Getting your payments twice a month is really a game changer. They'd be the first stock to move to that. That alone would make Stretch the only preferred security in the world paying semi-monthly. But Strive just took it a step further. SATA, S-A-T-A, Strive's digital credit instrument, which is very similar to STRC, is moving to daily dividends. That's right, I didn't stutter. Daily dividends. That's 250 payouts a year, every single trading day. Think about what that means for capital velocity, for collateral utility, for passive income investors. Now here's my take. STRC should be watching this closely. Daily dividends on Stretch would be extraordinary. And what about the other preferred instruments? STRF, STRK, STRD? Moving those to monthly payouts and staggering them throughout the year could rotate capital continuously, crank up ATM volume, and give income investors a reason to hold across all four instruments. the digital credit revolution isn't just going weekly, it might be going daily. So this week, Strategy bought 24,869 Bitcoin, while miners produced 3,150. That's 789% of the weekly newly minted Bitcoin supply, absorbed by one company in 7 days. So year to date, which is 137 days into 2026, Strategy has accumulated 171,238 Bitcoin, while miners have produced 61,650. They're buying at 2.78 times the global mining rate. Nearly 3x all the new Bitcoin coming to market is being gobbled up by Strategy. Still, and here we are in mid-May. And the supply vacuum this year has now crossed 100,000 Bitcoin, sitting at 109,588 BTC. That's how many more Bitcoin Strategy has bought this year than every miner on Earth has produced combined. Think about what that means for price. Bitcoin has a persistent, relentless bid week after week, regardless of price. That supply is being hoovered out of circulation permanently, and the spring keeps cooling. When it releases hard. So here's what I'm watching. 1. The STRC semi-monthly dividend vote on June 8th. A yes vote changes the instrument permanently. It seems like a done deal, but make sure you vote those shares. 2. Does SATA's move to daily dividends pressure Strategy to accelerate the stretch dividend frequency roadmap? 3. The debt retirement settles May 19th. Watch for any market reaction to the balance sheet cleanup. And 4. Bitcoin's price, 77,000, 78,000 this morning. Strategy's cost basis is 75,700. They're in the green, barely, and a sustained move higher unlocks the S&P 500 narrative in a big way, especially if Bitcoin's rally can sustain a year plus. So buy 110 is in the books, 24,869 Bitcoin, $2 billion deployed, 843,000 plus Bitcoin on the balance sheet, over 4% of all the Bitcoin ever, supply vacuum crossing 100,000, the stretch engine is running, and it's running hard. If you found this valuable, smash the like button and subscribe. For real-time tracking of every Bitcoin Treasury company on the planet, visit bitcointreasuries.net and subscribe to the newsletter. The link's in the description, and don't forget to stay orange. I'll see you next Monday.